Aloha, beautiful beings. Today I want to pose a question for you to really take in and contemplate. What is your underlying motivation for anything that you do in life? And now some people may say, what do you mean my underlying motivation? I don't have an underlying motivation. And that is ultimately our way of avoiding what our true essence of truth is, which is that every single person has an underlying motivation to do anything in this world. And that underlying motivation is rooted in our deepest desires. Now, sometimes our deepest desires are governed by our subconscious mind that is actually serving our ego desires versus our highest mind desires. So in order for us to really understand our underlying motivations, we need to really bring the shadow aspects of our motivations into the forefront of our consciousness. This way, we can see how we are manipulating situations to fulfill our underlying motivations. And if we see this clearly, then we can make informed decisions and really ask ourselves, well, is this in alignment with our highest integrity? And do I want to live by my highest integrity? And that, of course, is your choice. So, ways to understand our underlying motivations. If you're in a relationship and you're having a conversation with your significant other and there's this thing that you want out of them, like perhaps to take the garbage out, to take time off to go on a vacation with you, to cook dinner, to buy a house, bigger things, smaller things, whatever it is, I want you to pay attention to how you yield the conversation so that you get what you want out of it. This is a form of manipulation. We are all doing it. Don't feel bad about it. There's no shame here. But we need to understand that it's happening. And we need to understand that it's happening to us and from us. So instead of trying to manipulate and be underhanded about it, maybe by the way we speak, the tone of our voice, a little bit about using words that you know the other person will buy into or subscribe to what you're saying, bringing up things from the past. These are all examples of how we use our strategy to support our underlying motivations to get what we want. The key is to really do the work and ask yourself, what is my true underlying motivation to anything? Is it to get love? Is it to get affection? Is it to get money? Is it to get safety? Is it to get support? Whatever it is, this is your opportunity to make these unconscious actions into conscious actions. When we know our underlying motivation, we can be honest with ourselves, we can be honest with the people around us, and we can change how we interact with people. Because ultimately, I think the majority of us don't want to manipulate people without really knowing why we're doing it. And we also don't want to be manipulated. So once we start understanding our own underlying motivations, then we'll be able to see when other people are trying to manipulate us. And we can also give a little bit of sympathy and empathy for those people and say, hey, I know what you're trying to do. Why don't you just tell me your true desire? So we could just lay it out on the table and maybe I'll subscribe to it. And maybe you don't have to manipulate me to do what you want. Maybe it's something I'll want to do as well. And you could say this in your own way too. If you know your underlying motivation is to get love, then you could speak to the person and say, hey, I really feel like I desire for more love in this communication, in this exchange, in this relationship. And see how they react. One of the reasons why we choose not to do that and we just try to manipulate people and manipulate situations is because we're afraid that if we're honest with ourselves and we're honest with other people, that we don't get what we want. But the truth is, we're always getting what we want. And that, my friends, is another video. So think about what your underlying motivations are. How are you manipulating your reality? How are you manipulating your environment around you? How are you manipulating the people around you? Bring that in with compassion, awareness, observation, and see if it's the way you really want to be. Quantumplate That.